What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about Obi Wan Kenobi Episode 3, and an episode where it probably should have united the fan base. This episode might leave fans more divided than ever before. For me personally, this is going to be my raw thoughts on the episode. I just got finished watching it. Going to be talking about the things I loved about it, some of the things maybe I had problems with, or things I just felt like were a little bit off. Comment down below. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Have some problems? Comment down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new. Let's talk about Obi Wan Kenobi Episode 3. Alright, so the first thing I want to say is about the episode overall. I feel like there was something that felt off about this episode right from the very beginning. And I think how I can word it is I think the production value didn't really feel all there. And the aesthetic of how this episode looked felt sort of low budget in a way. It just felt like, I feel like the lighting was off at times. I feel like even in the beginning when we see Vader in Vader's castle and you see him sitting there talking to the hologram of Reva, like even behind him, like, you can just tell it was a green screen. And I feel like in a show like this, in a Star Wars Disney Plus show, like, I should never feel that way. I should never be taken out of the atmosphere or of the world. And I feel like I haven't really gotten up to this part, but for this episode, even when they're fighting Kenobi versus Vader, it just felt like I got pulled out of it like a tad bit. It was still epic, and I will talk about that fight scene and how much I loved it, but I did feel like the production value wasn't all there. Now, maybe that's because there was a leaked video of Vader and Obi-Wan fighting, and it seems like this was the episode of where it happened. So maybe while I was watching it, I remembered that leaked footage, and that's why I was taken out of it, because so maybe that just brought me out of it, like seeing that video. So maybe it should be a personal thing for me. I don't know if you guys felt the same way. But even when, like, Kenobi and Leia are on, in the back of the truck, and, like, they're on this planet, which was a cool-looking planet at first. I love seeing the Empire, colony there, and them trying to wander around and get bumped in the Empire. We'll talk about all that. But I feel like in general, for me personally, the production value just didn't feel like on the tier of what it should be for a Star Wars project. So that's just me, personal thoughts, right? But moving on, seeing in the very beginning the suit up Vader scene of seeing him, it's the scenes that we saw from the trailer, the arms being locked on, the whole suit, seeing him, and then seeing the castle as well. I thought it was epic. This episode is something that we've been waiting for years for, and to finally get to see Vader like that was awesome, amazing. I absolutely loved it. So from there, as the story goes along, Kenobi and Leia end up on this planet. After they left from Episode 2, they ended up on some random planet that the driver was taking them onto from wherever, right? So they go to the planet, which I forgot the name was. It was some mining colony planet, and we see that Kenobi sees a hooded figure, which I want to hear on theories of who this was. So I don't think we ever figured out who it was, right? And I kind of it looked like he had, the horns of Darth Maul, and I forgot the name of the species of the beige ones. But that's kind of like what it looked like for me. I hope to see some better imagery of that as more people dissect it and screenshot and look into it. But I thought that was cool. I'm wondering who that was. I hope I don't just sound like an idiot, and we actually got the reveal of it somewhere in the episode that I just maybe missed. So from here we go back to the truck with the stormtroopers. I thought this was great tension. I love how this is all set up. How Kenobi had to pretend that he wasn't a Jedi with Leia, and they're talking to stormtroopers. It was sort of like this holy shit sort of feel to it all. What's going to happen here? Is he going to get caught, or is he not going to get caught? I love how Leia asked about her mother and her father in a way, and Obi-Wan sort of talks to her and said, "You remind me of your mother. I wish I was your father." And she sort of asks all these questions. I love that. I really like that a lot. I love seeing Reva and the fifth brother fighting over that control of power. They both want to become the Grand Inquisitor now. I guess he's dead. We haven't really gotten an update on that. I really thought we were going to get an update on that, at least maybe seeing the Grand Inquisitor being worked on, like maybe them trying to save him. Because he can't be dead, right? He's showing up in Rebels, unless it's not our Grand Inquisitor. So either he comes back from the dead at some point, and we maybe thought he was dead, or or they're retconning Rebels, which I don't think they would do, because Filoni was definitely part of this project, and Rebels is like his baby. So I don't even know. But as we go along, the Imperial girl helps Kenobi, takes her back to her fort, where she's been helping other Jedi or other good people against the Empire. We see Quinlan Vos has passed by there. For anyone who doesn't know Quinlan Vos, I'm not an expert on him in terms of anything outside the Clone Wars episodes that he's in. I know he has a very brief sort of appearance in Phantom Menace, all the way in the background. This is a picture of him in Clone Wars. I remember some episodes as him, and it makes sense that he actually survived. I mean, the dude's a badass, and I could definitely see him being someone that comes out of Order 66 alive, right? So that was cool, having the name drop of him. But after this, we see Vader showing up, and I absolutely love this scene. I love how Vader was portrayed, creating that tension of like that excitement of seeing Kenobi and Vader face to face for the first time. And I love how they sort of like tease us with that here, as we see the shots of Vader's cape, then we see we slowly go up and we see his face, or his mask, and then Kenobi sees him, and then Vader tries to bait him by killing all these people around him. He just starts like force choking people, dragging them across the way, snapping their necks, and he's like baiting Kenobi to maybe come out and save these people. And so Kenobi runs away as he knows that Vader probably senses his presence and will follow him. As we see, I love this shot of when Kenobi's sort of like in the dark looking around, and then just out of the darkness we see the red lightsaber being ignited. And I love this dialogue as well, like the dialogue between Kenobi and Vader here. Maybe it just didn't feel epic because like there wasn't like that Star Wars music there. I mean, it actually did show up the Star Wars music. I did hear when Kenobi ignites his lightsaber later on. But for this moment right here, like the Star Wars feel was there for me. Like it was there, especially with the dialogue when Kenobi says, "What have you become?" And he says something along the lines of, "I am what you made me." Like that is such genuine dialogue from Vader. And I love that. I thought it was so cool. One problem I have with Vader, I do agree with some people here that I do think he should have been a little bit more angry. I think he should have looked at Kenobi and sort of had this fire in him, like this passion of wanting to absolutely murder Obi-Wan. I really think that that's where his headspace should be at least for this time in his life. But then after this, we get the fight scene between Vader and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber. He's very weak as he's like holding it back. Vader's just sort of like toying with him as he knows that it looks like I guess he can just tell Kenobi's weak, so he's not using his full strength of power. That's at least what I'm telling myself. But yeah, like even like the fight scene here wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but it was good enough to still like get me excited. Like I was like yelping like a little girl. I was like, holy shit! Like this is Vader and Kenobi having a lightsaber battle right now. Like it was crazy, and you can even hear a hint of Hayden's voice. That was James Earl Jones' voice, right? Is he back for this? That was something that I didn't know what was going to happen there. I suspected James Earl Jones was going to come back for a project this big, and it was like his voice. It was his voice for most of the episode, but then there was one instance where you sort of hear Hayden's voice come out a little bit, which I loved. And then Vader, puts Obi-Wan in the fire, symbolizing, like what Obi-Wan did to Vader. Now he wants to do to Obi-Wan and make him suffer. Badass, loved it. That felt like the furious Vader that I did want to see. And then, the Imperial Girl helps him out. Creates like this wall of fire, and I do hear people saying that Vader should have just probably pushed like that whole fire away. He probably could have done that. He could have jumped over it. He could have forced Obi-Wan to him. I mean, I would have preferred that as well. I think that is the most believable thing that probably would have happened. But having Vader maybe like turn his back to like save the battle for another day. Like we're getting another duel between them. Like we already know that. So I'm not too upset with like the way this battle went down, because I do know that a better duel is ahead. So like I'm okay with this one being like the subpar first duel, and it's like Obi-Wan's rusty, like Vader maybe. I would have preferred it to where Vader absolutely destroyed Obi-Wan, and he did in a way. Vader did pretty much destroy Obi-Wan. I think like for a production value, I would have made it a lot more grand though. I would have really showcased Vader's power. But I hate saying me like I'm better than these directors. Like I'm not. And then Reva finding Leia at the end. Now she has Leia. Like that's big reveal. And then the episode ends like that, right? So my quick rating for this episode is a 4.7 out of 5. I really did love it. This might be just like initial hype coming out of the episode. Like I do really want to rewatch this one to further my thoughts, but I don't think it's going to change that much. I think just like the excitement of seeing Vader like in this sort of location and tone again. Like it's Hayden in the suit and like he's going after Obi-Wan. Like I don't know, like my fanboy might just be blocking everything else. I just want to like be excited about this moment no matter what. Like I don't want to be negative about this whatsoever. So, and I don't even think it deserves that much negativity. I do think it was epic. I do think it was awesome. Like some little things I would have done differently, but I don't think that should take away from like what we got. So I loved it. I thought it was awesome, epic. The dialogue between them, I really loved. Like that, it's like I said, like what have you become? You know, I am what you made me. Loved it. There's a couple other dialogue pieces like that I thought were really well done. You know, could have been better. Yeah. My only problem is like that production value feel. And I don't like. Comment down below if you guys felt the same way. I hope it's not just me that feels that way. But it didn't feel like a fan fiction film. I'm not saying that. I just think like with the amount of money that Star Wars has with Disney, and I know like what it could look like and what it could feel like, it should have been like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it just felt off for me, the production value and the aesthetic of it. You know, and I know some of the green screen stuff sometimes with Vader's castle. So that's the only thing that bugs me. But I mean, 4.7 out of 5. It was a near perfect for me in terms of excitement, in terms of fanboying. And I think there are better episodes ahead, though. I think there is a 5 out of 5 or 2 perfect episodes coming out of the series. So I want to save those ratings for that. I don't think this deserves a 10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 rating yet, but it does come pretty damn close for me. So that's just my initial thoughts on this episode. I'm going to have to definitely rewatch it, collect my thoughts a bit more. But I'm super intrigued on what the community thinks about this episode. Because I hope it's not... I don't think it's going to be like directly split in half. I think most people are going to love it or at least like it a lot. But there are going to be some that have a lot of problems with it. And I can see it. You know, it just depends on maybe like what you want from the show and how much you're accepting of certain things and where Star Wars is at right now. So comment down below what you guys think of it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it. Please make sure to subscribe if you're new. But I will see you on the next video. Have a great rest of the day.